and hear their voices and identify them as they would be deliberating on the different matters. I will start with the Deputy Chairperson of the Energy Regulator, Ms. Zandile Mpungose. Ms. Mpungose, if you could greet.
Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning, everyone, and greetings to the members of the public who've joined us today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mpungose. Next will be the CEO of NESA and member of various subcommittees, Advocate Nomalanga Sithole.
Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning, members and members of NESA personnel and members of the public that have joined us for this particular Energy Regulator meeting this morning. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. The next member of the Energy Regulator is the regulator member primarily responsible for petroleum pipelines at NESA, Mr. Muzuvukile Mkhize.
Thank you, Chairperson. Greetings to you, Chairperson, members and all in attendance, as well as the members of the public that are following us through the various live streaming platforms. Thank you.
Thank you. We also have the regulator member primarily responsible for pipe gas and also primarily responsible for the electricity regulation. At NESA, Ms. Nomfundo Maseti.
Thank you, and good morning to you, Chairperson. Good morning to the members, and good morning to the members of the public that have joined us for observing the proceedings of today's meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Maseti. We have the chairperson of the IT Governance Committee and a member of various committees of the Energy Regulator, Mr. Fungai Sibanda.
Morning, Chair, NESA colleagues and members of the public. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sibanda. And finally, for this meeting, we have the chairperson of the Finance Committee and a member of the Electricity Subcommittee and other committees, Ms. Tembega Semane.
Morning, Chair, and good morning to our NESA colleagues as well as the members of the public. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Semane. Members of the public, we have an apology from the member of the Energy Regulator, the chairperson of the Audit and Risk Committee, and a member of other committees, Ms. Sibia. So she will not be joining this meeting. We are now ready to start, members of the public. We are going to start with item number 3, which is the proposed agenda for the regulatory matters. May I check with the members of the regulator if they are happy to adopt the agenda as presented? If there are any changes that they would like to make, please indicate by raising your hand. If none, members, may you please raise your hands to indicate that you accept the agenda as proposed. Got Mr. Mkhize, Mr. Sibanda, Ms. Semane, Ms. Maseti, Ms. Mpungose, and Advocate Sithole. Thank you. The agenda is adopted as such. We are going to move on to the next item, the declaration of interest. May I check if members want to do a verbal declaration of interest? If none, may I request the members to complete the declaration of interest forms. Anyone who wants to make a verbal declaration, please raise your hand. I see no hands. Therefore, members will complete the declaration of interest forms together with the staff members. We are going to move on to item number 5. Item number 5 is the report from the chairperson of the Petroleum Pipelines Committee, Mr. Mkhize. Mr. Mkhize, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chairperson. Due to some technical delays on the side of the RSU, these minutes have been withdrawn. We'll deal with them completely in the next meeting. Thank you.
Chair, you could be on mute.
Thank you, Faye. I was on mute. Colleagues, item 5.1 has been withdrawn as indicated in the minutes and in the agenda that we approved. We are going to move on to item number 6. Item 6 is the report from the chairperson of the Pipe Gas Subcommittee, Ms. Nomfundo Maseti. Ms. Maseti, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, before the Energy Regulator, the report that provides progress in terms of the measures that the regulator approved, which are the measures to improve competition in the gas industry. And the regulator will record there was a report, and that was that it has approved, and it approved to identify the energy regulator or
Ms. Maseti,
provide.
we're struggling to hear you a bit, so maybe I don't know if there's any movement you can make to make it better. Let's try again.
Okay, Gerald is working on my left side, so I'm trying to use the phone as well as the iPad at the moment. I'm sorry. So I was indicating, Chairperson, if I was indicating that the regulator has approved previously measures to improve competition in the gas industry. Now, today we are looking at the progress that has been made with regards to the 11 measures that the energy regulator approved. We have enumerated those measures on paragraph 4 of the covering submission. And on page 3, page 3 provides the progress in respect of each of the measures, including the fast tracking of the gas-fired electricity generation capacity, and we indicated the NERSA's participation in various committees, and also being invited by the department to assist also at NETLEC, where we've provided information and assistance through its regulatory advocacy. We also have done work that went to the subcommittee on streamlining of the license approval processes. I am not going to go through all of them, Chairperson, but they are provided on paragraph 5, including a lot of work and submissions that we've made in the processing of the gas amendment bill. So all of that is provided on paragraph 5, which is on page 4, 5, and 6. Now, when this report on the progress was deliberated at the PGS meeting of 7 March, there was only 1 or 2 issues that were raised, which is under measure 1, the ongoing actions with the Department of Electricity and Energy to provide some quarterly or bi-monthly engagements and follow-ups to ensure that actions are implemented. And that has been done, and there was a meeting that was also held. And members also provided input to the input to the cover submission and the main report, and we also acknowledge information that or input that we received from the member of the energy regulator, Mr. Fungai Sibanda. Chairperson, I would like to take the report as having been read, and I would like to request the energy regulator to approve the progress report that is made in respect of the implementation of the measures that the regulator approved for NERSA to take actions in improving the state of competition and facilitating investments in the gas industry. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Ms. Maseti. Members of the Energy Regulator, the report in front of us. If there are any questions, concerns, points that you would like to clarify, please do so by raising your hand. Mr. Mkize?
Thank you, Chairperson. I'm a member of the gas subcommittee, and I actually don't have comments as such, but just to say that we need to capture the Department of Electricity and Energy properly in terms of the abbreviation. I think it's DOEE, not instead of DEE. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mkize, for that correction. Members of the Energy Regulator, may I take you to 14.1.1, where we are requested to approve the report on the progress made in the implementation of the measures to improve competition and investment in the gas industry, as attached in Annexure A. If you could indicate your support for this approval by raising your hands. We've got Mr. Mkize, Ms. Semane, Ms. Maseti, Mr. Spanda, and Advocate Sitole. I also support the approval. The report is approved. Ms. Maseti, you can take us to the next item.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, the next item is the frequently asked questions in respect of the determination of inadequacy in the pipe gas industry. That was the determination done in terms of Section 21(1)(p). As NERSA cannot approve maximum prices unless at all times we make sure that there will be a decision that shows that competition is inadequate. Now, contingent to that prerequisite, the energy regulator then can exercise its mandate of approving maximum prices. Now, there was that determination that was presented, I think, last month to the energy regulator. Following that, we then developed the frequently asked questions. This is a document that is aimed to simplify things and provide clarification to stakeholders. So at the meeting of the Piped Gas Subcommittee held on 7 March 2025, the members recommended that the introduction be inserted into the frequently asked question document to explain more clearly what the questions seek to achieve. And that introduction has been inserted on page 1 of the document. Members can refer to Annexure A in that regard. The second thing that the members recommended was that question 5 of the frequently asked questions be amended to distinguish between the policymaker, that is the Department of Electricity and Energy, the DOEE, they will correct that, and NERSA's perspective roles in reducing barriers to entry into the relevant gas markets to improve entry as well as competition. Question 5 again is attached in Annexure A. It has provided that distinction very clearly in terms of what policy can do from the policy side in terms of reducing barriers to entry, and also from the energy regulator's point of view, what is its mandate in terms of reducing barriers to entry in order to facilitate investments into the industry. Chairperson, the frequently asked questions are before us, and I'm taking them as having been read. Having said that, the decision that is sought is on paragraph 14. It is recommended that the energy regulator notes the frequently asked questions in respect of NERSA's 2024-25 determination of inadequate competition as required in 21(1)(p) of the Gas Act. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Ms. Maseti. Members of the Energy Regulator, any questions, points to be clarified, or additions that you'd like to make? Please indicate by raising your hand. If none, members, may I then request if you could raise your hands to indicate that you are in support of noting this, the frequently asked questions as indicated by Ms. Maseti. I've got Mr. Mkize, Ms. Maseti, Ms. Semane, Mr. Spanda, and Advocate Sitole. I support, and Ms. Mbungose, thank you. We are done with item number 6.2. Ms. Maseti, you can take us to item 6.3.
Thank you, Chairperson. Item 6.3, Chairperson, is the report on the application by Novo Energy Pty Ltd. And this application is for the maximum price of gas. The period is 1 May 2024 to 30 April 2025. Just before I go ahead, I do want to indicate to the regulator that The members should not be surprised by the fact that we're still taking this through approval. It is because this entity tried to submit its application, but it was not adequate, and the team had to work closely with the entity. So it was not meeting the requirements, but we still wanted to make sure that it will comply with Section 21(1)(p), and it had eventually submitted an application that was acceptable for purposes of the regulator undertaking an evaluation. So we have evaluated this application. It's served at the committee, the pipe gas subcommittee. What is required from the energy regulator today is for the regulator to then approve the maximum gas energy price of 3 rand 14 cent per gigajoule for the period that I've stated. And the components that make up this price are shown on table 1. And those components is the cost of gas itself, as it is buying gas from other, from wholesalers that are selling gas. And it trades that gas in 2 ways. It sells the gas to customers, and some of that gas gets compressed and being provided to the market, compressed natural gas that will be utilized for trucks and other activities. And then there's a trading component. That's why you see the trading component. The amount that you see is because of the assets that they are using to compress the natural gas. So it's a little bit higher, and they have to be included here. And because they've got the cost, they need to also make a profit. And that profit is also determined in terms of for committee, so the subgas regulations, and that's why you see that price of 3 rand 14 cents, 314 rands 47 cents. Chairperson, the decision that is sought, it's on paragraph 14. I don't have any other things to indicate. I think there was no issue at the pipe gas subcommittee in terms of this submission, and therefore I would like the energy regulator to approve as requested on paragraph 7 of the covering submission, the maximum gas price, as well as the reasons for decision that are attached here. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Masetti. Members of the Energy Regulator, any questions, comments, points of clarification? Please indicate by raising your hand. I've got Mr. Sibanda. Mr. Sibanda, please go ahead.
Thank you, Chairperson, and thank you to Ms. Masetti. Chair, I just have one question, and it relates to the clawback. I believe it's a give back to customers. The question that I have is, or maybe let me first say that for me, I think as a matter of principle, clawbacks should be implemented immediately after the year that they've been incurred, as a matter of principle. But I see here that we want to spread the give back over a period of 6 years, and I'm on page 19 of 25 from paragraph 6.37 under clawback. So we want to implement this over a period of 6 years on the basis that it took 6 years to accumulate the clawback. So I don't seem to get the rationale, because I'm not too sure that it was anybody's oversight that this clawback was accumulated over 6 years, because apparently it was because the licensee did not apply for a maximum price within that period or for over 6 years. And so they were using a previously approved maximum price. So I'm just questioning the rationale to then spread the give back over a period of 6 years, considering that For me, I think there's a question of the clawback losing the value over time or the benefit to customers over time. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Sibanda. Ms. Masetti?
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, I would like maybe the energy regulator to apply his mind. I do understand the concern from Mr. Sibanda. Indeed, it is a give back to customers, and then one could look into fairness to customers, especially if customers have been overcharged, and hence there is give back to customers, and there would not be a sort of value for money that the customers are going to benefit from, and it is also not their fault, as Mr. Sibanda indicated. Chairperson, I do not have, this is the report that went through the PGS, but I do take the point that he's making, that it is reasonable that maybe we can reduce the period, Chairperson, as the chairperson of the committee and also responsible for the industry. I do take the point that we need to balance the economic interest of both customers as well as the suppliers. I will then put it to the regulator to perhaps consider reducing the... Somebody's mic is on. Sorry. Oh, Chairperson, somebody's...
I can't see from this. Mr. Mateja, are you able to assist us? I can't see whose mic is on.
I'm working on it, sir.
Thank you. Is it Ramukhodo?
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks,
Please go ahead, Ms.
Chairperson.
Masetti.
So, Chairperson, so as tries to provide leadership on this area, I would like to put to the regulator that the regulator consider reducing the period from 6 years. We can put it over 2 years, Chairperson, instead of 6 years. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Masetti. Ms. Masetti, when I look at the table for the clawback, even the applicant seemed to have been comfortable with the number that was put in there. May I just understand, as much as I am not opposed to the shortening, that for this decision, we are going to make that decision as it is, but then have that as part of the decision that going forward, the clawback will then be recovered over 2 years. Would that align? And Mr. Sibanda, would that meet your requirements as well? The question is Ms. Masetti and Mr. Sibanda. Yeah, Mr. Sibanda.
Chairperson.
Yes, Ms. Masetti.
Yes, Mr. Sibanda can. Okay, Chair. Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, I do not have an issue. Let me just check, Chairperson, with Ms.
I lost you there for a second, Ms. Masetti. Ms. Magoda.
Yes.
Chairperson, we are happy with the decision from the ER. I think going forward we can make the give back to be 2 years.
Yes, let me just go back to Mr. Sibanda, because I think Mr. Sibanda was talking from a principal perspective, but you also had Nova applying for the same clawback that we had given them. And I think Mr. Sibanda's point, I want to get a feel of whether Mr. Sibanda is aligned with the decision that says this one goes, but the following 2 years it must be done such that there is no outstanding clawback. Mr. Sibanda.
Chair, I'm fine with that. Thanks.
Thank you. In that case, colleagues, Ms. Masetti, we can then go to the decision, but we will make that additional part of the decision that we will then do the clawback going forward in 2 years. The decision has already been read out by Ms. Masetti, and it's on item number 7.1 on the document. May you please, colleagues, indicate by raising your hands that you are in support, and the only addition is that we will do it the clawback in the following application over 2 years. We've got Ms. Masetti, Ms. Semane, Mr. Spanda, Ms. Mpungose, Advocate Sitole, and Mr. Mkize. Thank you. Decision is approved with that modification. Faye, you are comfortable with the recording of the decision?
Yes, Chair. For the detailed technical part of it, I will refer to the colleagues. Thanks.
Thank you, Faye. Ms. Masetti, we are on item 6.4. If you could maybe root out the points that you would want the energy regulator to note, if any.
Thank you, Chairperson. The next report, Chairperson, is the minutes of the Pipe Gas Subcommittee for the meeting held on 15 January 2025. Chairperson, don't have anything to emphasize on these minutes. It is all things that have already taken place in terms of the application for maximum prices, as well as registration of gas operations. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Masetti. Members, any questions or points you would like Ms. Masetti to clarify in the minutes? If none, members, may you please indicate by raising your hands that you're happy to note the minutes of the PGS. I've got Mr. Mkize, Ms. Masetti, Ms. Pungose, Advocate Tole, Mr. Spanda, and Ms. Semane. Thank you. The minutes noted. General, can you just check who is interfering? Because I'm unsure as to that other members who would or other attendees who would be wanting to speak in this meeting. I mean, the rules are clear. It's the energy regulator members that speak in this meeting, and the energy regulator members do nominate who they want to speak to. So I'm unsure as to why the mics keep getting switched on. Like, there's no one who should be preparing to speak. So, Mr. Mateja, please help us. Thank you. We are now going to move on to item number 7. Item number 7 is the report of the chairperson of the Electricity Subcommittee. Ms. Masetti, unfortunately, you still have the floor. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, the first report under the Electricity Subcommittee are the reasons for decision for Eskom's 6th multi-year price determination, the MYPD6. The members will recall that the decision was already taken. What did not serve at the meeting of the energy regulator were reasons for the decisions that were taken. And the decisions that were taken were in respect of the application for Eskom's generation revenue for the next 3 years, 2025-26, 2026-27, 2027-28. The second part of these reasons for decision were for the distribution business of Eskom. Again, it was on the revenue that Eskom requires for its distribution business. And again, it is for the same period of time, which is the 3 years, financial year 2026, 27, and 28. And then the thirdly, Chairperson, it is for NTCSA for the transmission business. And again, it is the revenue that they required from the energy regulator. Now, Chairperson, as I indicated, we request, as indicated on paragraph 2.1, that we only request the energy regulator to approve the reasons for decision. Just to remind the energy regulator that in terms of the revenue that was required and the percentage increase that represents that revenue, it was 36% for the first financial year, 11.81%, second year, 9.10% in the third year. So that could have resulted in the compounded increase of 57.06% for the next 3 years. Chairperson, I just want to then indicate that in terms of what was discussed and what the energy regulator wanted in the special extended ELS meeting of 21 January. We have provided on table 1, page 3, what has changed. And what has changed in the 3 decisions, it was simply to have some changes that are made in terms of the revenue that we provided to NTCSA, and that is provided on the tables that are below. For instance, if one refers to the transmission part of the business, you will see the discussion there on the RAB. It was as the electricity subcommittee had some concerns with the significant downward adjustment when there were no reasons really that justified that. There were certain components that were not properly justified, and the energy regulator suggested that the capex for the revenue for NTCSA be increased, and you can see the aspects where the adjustments were done in terms of refurbishment, production equipment, and the servitudes, as well as the strengthening and expansion of the capex for expansion of the projects for capex. Chairperson, those are shown in table 10, table 11, and paragraph 6.1 and table 12 of the RFDs. Without taking too much time of the committee or the energy regulator, I do also want to indicate the changes that were done on distribution, which are on paragraph 7.65. Having said that, Chairperson, I would like to then go to paragraph 13, indicating the decision that is sought from the energy regulator. The electricity subcommittee recommends that the energy regulator approves the reasons for decision for Eskom's generation revenue application decision, as well as the reasons for decision and conditions for 2025-26, 26-27, 27-28 financial years. To also approve the reasons for decision for the transmission application decision, reasons for decision and conditions for the 3 years that I've already read out. And thirdly, Chairperson, the reasons for decision in respect of the distribution revenue that the energy regulator approved on 30th of January 2025. Thank you, Chairperson. That's what the submission is all about.
Thank you, Ms. Masetti. Members of the energy regulator, there's a submission in front of us, which is in 3 parts. Any questions, comments, points to be modified or enhanced? Please indicate by raising your hand. I do not see any hands, so I'm going to take you then to item number 13 or paragraph 13 of the submission. I still struggle with the part that says that we must approve the revenue application decision, because the decision was made, but I know that in the way that the RFD is made, it starts with the decision. So I do want to request that we remove the part that says decision. We are approving the reasons for the decisions and the conditions that have been set for these decisions. If we are all aligned with that, colleagues, please indicate by raising your hand. I've got Ms. Samane, Mr. Spanda, Ms. Masetti, Mr. Mkize, Ms. Mbose, and Advocate Sitole. Thank you. Ms. Masetti, you can take us to the next item on the agenda.
Thank you, Chairperson. The next item, Chairperson, is again a report from the subcommittee that deals with electricity regulation matters. This report is the report about Eskom's 5th multi-year price determination, MYPD5, and it is a regulatory clearing account application for the year 2022 2023. Mr. Sibanda, we do take note of the concern, and it is a valid concern that should there be variances and some clawbacks, which this submission is about that those things, it is fair that they be done a year immediately after the end of the relevant financial year on which the expenses were incurred. I think that is a fair comment. So we do take note as we are dealing with this matter now. In terms of this clearing regulatory clearing account, the energy regulator is requested to approve the decision on Eskom's MYPD5 RCA application for the year 2022-23, and also to approve the reasons for decision. Chairperson, I just want to indicate that the matter served at the ELS twice, because we wanted to make sure that the calculations that were done and the application and the interpretation of the methodology was properly done, and we needed to clarify areas or components of the clawback, or the components that are not necessarily supposed to be adjusted. The team has gone back and clarified those things, and that is sorted. Now, on table 1, Chairperson, we trying to refresh the minds of the energy regulator members as it deals with the decision that was taken, that is sought, the allowable revenue decision, including the RCAs for MYPD5. You will see for the first year, which was 2021-22, 2022-23, 2023-24. There's an error there on that table. It's supposed to be 2023-24. It says 2022-23 again. So if that can be corrected, members. I've already touched on in terms of the deliberations, and the explanation was then provided in terms of the RAP, how we deal with that in terms of the methodology, and is provided on the table that I've indicated, Chairperson. I do also just to indicate that in terms of this, there is a give back of on page 20 of the reasons for decision. That table there, the electricity revenue variance, which is what is relevant for purposes of today's decision. It will show then what is the difference there, which is the give back. And it was not a good year in terms of the supply constraints that were experienced by Eskom in terms of load shedding, and there was also load reduction. But what is important there is that there is that 22.8 billion rands, which is the give back. Having said that, Chairperson, I would like to then request that the energy regulator approves the clawback as requested by Eskom. It is also on that table that I've just referred to you on page 20. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Maseti. Advocate Sitola, I see your hand is up. May I just check if you have a question?
Okay. Apologies, Chair, it was a lingering hand.
All right, thank you. Ms. Maseti, I think on table 1 on that, in what's the page, but the table 1 of the covering submission, the third column is actually correct. They are just showing what the decision of NESA is, so it doesn't need to be changed for this particular one. But with that, may I just check with the members of the energy regulator if there are any questions, comments, or points they would want to modify. Please raise your hand, members. If none, members, may I then take you to the decision that is sought, and I think it's better represented in fact, we can go to item number 13, where we are required to just approve the reasons, the decision and the reasons for the decision, 13.11 and 13.12. Please indicate by raising your hands, colleagues, if you are in support. Got Mr. Mkhize.
It's a Chairperson, just for the Chairperson, for the record,
Yes.
I think it will be fair for the members. That's why I made reference to the table, because I think the decision must stand on its own. What we are requiring there is what is on page 7 of the green over-stamped pages, page 7. There is a table there, table 1, which shows the RCA balance for 2022-2023. So that is the table that we are talking about for 13.11. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Maseti. Colleagues, I still have Ms. Samane approving. I've got Mr. Spanda, Mr. Mkize, Ms. Maseti, Ms. Mbungose, and Advocate Sitole. Thank you, Ms. Maseti. You can take us to the next item on the agenda. Item 7.3.
Thank you. Yes, Chairperson. Chairperson, the next item is the electricity frequently asked questions that also served before the electricity subcommittee. These are questions. These are frequently asked questions, Chairperson, that are based on issues that were raised by stakeholders during the customer education initiatives of the energy regulator, and they are really trying to clarify the legal requirements and also just to promote some better understanding of the provisions of the Electricity Regulation Act, as well as the approach of the energy regulator in regulating the electricity industry, and also how it applies its methodologies on issues that were asked by stakeholders. Chairperson, in terms of the deliberations at the ELS of 3 March, there were no serious issues that were raised. However, in future, we think that we are going to sort of shorten these and try to sort of package them in terms of specific categories so that we make it easy for reference for stakeholders who may want to get clarity on a particular aspect. But for now, we think that the document is good enough and it will provide the overall sort of questions for now that that the stakeholders tend to ask when NERSA staff goes out for customer education. Having said that, Chairperson, we then request that the the energy regulator approves the electricity frequently asked questions. They are attached here as Annexure A. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Maseti. Members of the Energy Regulator, Annexure A is in front of us, and the covering submission is recommending that we approve this. Any questions, comments, enhancements? If none, members, may I request that you indicate your support of approving these frequently asked questions by raising your hand. But Mr. Mkize, Ms. Samane, Ms. Maseti, Advocate Sitole, Mr. Spanda, and Ms. Mbungose. Thank you. The frequently asked questions are approved. Ms. Maseti, I think the next item is also your item.
Thank you, Chairperson. This item, Chairperson, was already approved because of its urgency and importance. And this is the NERSA's comments on Section 34, Ministerial Determination on the procurement of 400 kV transmission infrastructure by NTCSA. Chairperson, the report is here for the energy regulator to note, as this was a round-robin decision and needs to get to the next meeting of the energy regulator as required by the law. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Maseti. Members, I think we must indicate by raising our hands if we are noting this one. If there are questions, we also can raise them. I've got Mr. Mkize, Ms. Samane, Ms. Maseti, Mr. Spanda, Ms. Mbungose, and Advocate Sitole. The item is noted. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Maseti, for the report, and I think you had quite a long run as well. Members of the public and who have joined us in this meeting, we have now reached the end of the section that is open to the public. We'd like to thank you for your participation, although your participation is really in silence and in listening. But thank you for your